Hey, it's the Chief Bonding with Board Games, where we're looking at Game Right's latest upgraded version of Sushi Go called Sushi Go Party. It's a party, baby, with sushi. Can't go wrong. Fun, light, family game. This goes from 2 to 8. If you've ever played regular Sushi Go, that's still in here, so that also helps if you've never purchased it and you wanted to purchase. It's both the base versions in here and all this expanded content. And there's a real cool board that allows you to, kind of mix and match, and rules that allow you to say, hey, I want something that's real, like point-wise, or I want something that's real tough, or I want the old standard classic version. Boom. Or I'm mixing it up, throwing it in, blah, blah, blah. All right, all that's in there. Let me go in and show you kind of how that works. And we'll come out, I'll give you my thoughts, but I like it. All right, we're looking at the Sushi Go Party setup board. Now, each of these are hard cardboard tiles, will end up corresponding to all the cards that are inside the Sushi Go Party tin and the little tray that works very nicely. You can even see it's like visually appealing. All right, so just know that each one of these is going to represent a deck or a set of cards that will go into the gameplay. Now, I'll show the gameplay in a little bit. For those that have never played, just bear with me. For those that have played, you're going to get this and you're going to see some of the new stuff. So in every single game, and this board will also serve as your score tracker, and it's going to serve as a reminder for the different cards that are in the deck. You'll always have the nigiri in every single game. So that's the baseline, you'll have them. For every other type, the rolls, the specials, the appetizers, and the desserts, you're going to have options. And you can mix and match those options however you want. They do have some little guidelines in here. See if I can show you real quick. If I can find it. All right, yes, here's the guidelines. So they have all these little guidelines you can use if you just want to set up something that's real quick, that's going to be fast and, fast and easy for new players. Or the traditional Sushi Go lineup. Here's what those cards are. So even if someone says, you know what, I don't want to try all the new cards, but I've played Sushi Go before, boom, break these out. Just as a reminder. And then you've got all these different kind of flavor profiles, for lack of a better word, that are going to allow you to set up something quickly without having to put any thought into, hey, what style do I want? Or you can just simply say, hey, let's try a game with these and this and this. Who wants fruit? Who wants that? Who wants eel? All right, so you can just throw in whatever and just say, okay, we'll try it like this. No forethought, no planning, nobody else deciding, hey, this is the mix that does the best. So I'll show you how this works. So you know you're going to always have nigiri. So then you have an option of adding in a roll. Now again, I've set up for the classic Sushi Go, the regular Sushi Go, you always got the maki roll. And in the maki roll, it's going to tell you 2 to 5 players, but this is always explaining how the scoring goes. So in the game, the person that ends up in a round, and there's 3 rounds, the one that gets the most of these is going to get 6 points, second will get 3. Boom. But let's look at these other rolls. So you got, and I'll never pronounce all these right, Ramaki. So it's a race to see who gets the 10 rolls first. First will get 8, second 5, third 2. They go into some deeper explanations in the rule book that I won't go into here. It's not going to be exhaustive. I'm just going to gloss over these. Tamaki, most and fewest. Very, very simple. No penalties in 2-player games. There are 2-player rules in here as well. So there are some little things you'll want to look at as you go. But again, you're getting little helpers on these cards, just like 2 to 5 players. So there's your differences with your rolls. And let's say you pick one. Let's just go with the Ormaki. You just set it in. You can see it matches. These other ones will go back into the tin. So we come over to our specials. You can see you got room for 2 specials. So again, the specials are, I'm going to show you the first two that are, again, from Classic Sushi Go. Wasabi. Love the wasabi in real life and in the game. Basically, wasabi works with the nigiri, and it will times the nigiri times 3. So if you end up with the egg nigiri, it's only 1, and I can't remember, I think it's salmon and then squid, maybe? Sorry. But so you can either get 9, or you can end up with 6, or you can just get 3 points. That's how the wasabi works. Chopsticks. It was just something that if you had the chopsticks in your hand as a card, you could discard it and end up taking 2 cards out of the deck that comes around. And again, I'll show you how that process works. It's very simple. So what's new? You got soy sauce. Now, soy sauce was like an expansion card that some people would get. I always kind of wanted it, but I wasn't going to go search it out. I even think it was on the Geek. It wasn't that hard to find at some point in time. I'm a bit of a completist, but maybe not neurotically so. Maybe I am. Who knows? So you've got, if you have more, or if you have the most different colored cards at the end of a round, you're going to get 4. So just something a little bit different. Then you got this takeout box, which again, I just love it. So flip over any previously played cards. They're now worth 2. Then you have the special order card. Again, I love it. Let me keep my hand here. 2 to 6 players only, so it doesn't work in 7 to 8. It's basically a wild card. When you end up playing this card, you can point it at another card and it'll copy that, which is very nice with like salmon or tempura. Let's see. We're going to breeze through these a little quicker. I'll be here a long time, but I wanted you to see them. So you have tea. Just love the whole concept. And then it's 1 per card in your biggest set of a single color at the end of a round. Spoon, which I thought was like a chili. It was like a chili pod when I was doing the unboxing, and then I'm like, well, that's not that. That is a spoon. Keep to use later. Just an ounce card. First player, well, you can read it. And again, I'll explain a few of these, but not all of them. I'll probably explain some of my more favorite ones when I do the run through. I just want to expose these to you. And we're back at the wasabi. So again, let's just use, we would have, instead of wasabi, we're going to have the special order, which I do like. I like that wild card feel, and I love the tea. So we're going to throw the tea down in here. All right, then we get rid of those, and you're setting up the cards that'll come in. We'll do desserts last. They're also the thing that as you go through rounds, the desserts will stay with you throughout each of the rounds, and they even have a little bit of a change here that I'm going to zoom in on this, and I'll show you when we get to that. But appetizers, you can see you're going to have 3. So you'd go through this and select 3. Again, the standard where the tempura, you just had 2 of them. If you had 2 sets of the cards, you would get 5 points. Sashimi worked the exact same way, but you needed to get 3 and you would get 10. So you'll see somebody at the table starting to collect and you start table talking. The dumplings, this is progressive where you want to get as many as you can. So if you have 1, they're only worth 1. But when you get 3 of them, they'll be worth 6. And if you can get 5, they're going to be worth 15. So when someone starts collecting dumplings and you're playing with me at the table, I start screaming, "Dumpling collector." All right, and then whoever it is like, "Hey, hey." And I'm like, "Don't feed the dumpling collector." All right, we got tofu. Tofu is very interesting. Kind of works the same, but if you get 1, it's worth 2. 2, it's worth 6. But if you eat too much tofu, you can get sick of it. So if you end up with 3 of them, it's worth 0. So you can maybe feed someone that at near the end of the game. Onigiri, this is interesting. You see the unique shapes? You want to ideally collect 1 of each of the different shapes. Gets you 16 points. I like that twist. Like it a lot. The eel. Love this. The first time you eat it, basically, you don't really like it. But you warm up to it. So you want to get 2 of them. Very dangerous. Get 1, -3. If you can pick up 2, you're going to get 7. Love that as an appetizer. It's one of my more favorites in the new version. All right. The edamame, I forgot, which again is why in the rules there's always a more expansive explanation of what these are. These are very cool. If multiple people at the table have one of these, you want to share these. Everybody needs to have some of these. The max points you can get is 4. So if 4 players have it at the table, you're going to get 4 points. Everybody that has at least one of these cards will get 4. Even if 6 people have a different version of it, the most you can get is 4. But if only 1 person at the table gets it, it's only worth 1. So you don't want to hoard these. You want to share them. It's an appetizer meant to be shared. Miso soup. I just like saying that. I feel like well. Worth 3 points. You must discard if any other miso soup is played in the same turn. A little tricky. So everybody's doing that blind grab, and if two miso tubes, if another miso soup comes down, you're going to you get it discarded. Love that aspect of it. Nice little twist. And we're back to the tempura. I definitely want the miso soup. I love the eel. Want the eel in there. And I like all of these, actually, to be honest with you. I think one of the most unique, I like this. So we're going to throw that in there. And then like I said, when we get done, I'm going to show you how this works with selecting your cards out. Last are the desserts. And desserts are very interesting. So pudding is what you had in the original. And what happens is, during your 3 rounds, when you collect desserts, the desserts are progressive throughout all 3 rounds. So you're going to hold on to those. And at the very end of the game, so game end, the person that has the most puddings gets 6. The person with the fewest gets a -6. And you can see here, I love it, no penalty in a 2-player game. So I always end up, I just don't collect my puddings. I don't know what's going on. So you can see we've got fruit now. So again, at the game end, you're just going to go, how many do you have? You want to get at least some fruit. And if you can get a ton of fruit, 5+. So you want to get at least 5, you're going to get 10. Anything over that? Okay. So I love the fruit idea. Green tea ice cream. Hello. So again, game end, progressive through all 3 rounds. For every 4, you're going to get 12 points. We're definitely adding in, the cream here, the ice cream. Let me zoom in on what I said was the special rule for desserts. All right, so in the original game, you just, these cards that you would pull out would just get shuffled in randomly. However, let me see if I can grab the tea. Here's an example of the cards, and each of the 3 desserts have this little strawberry in them. That means it's a dessert. You won't shuffle this whole deck into all the other cards. It tells you how many you're going to seed into each round. So they get dispersed a lot more evenly. And I assume it's something that came out of them getting a lot of feedback, and I love seeing it in there on how they've responded to the feedback they received. So it's different. When I first read it, I thought, oh, well, I wouldn't have even thought of doing that. It was always just kind of a random seeding. Love this idea because it definitely evens it out, and it's a lesser, well, you got a harder chance of getting it as the rounds go by. So it keeps everybody kind of involved. It's not as easy to just jump in and grab onto a whole bunch of them as they go around. So, and you can see it breaks out how many there are. You're going to, anytime you're using them, you're putting all of these in there. But the rules tell you how many there are in each deck. And it just works out nice to have this for a reminder that you're going to be following these rules when you set up the deck. And let me break away, and I'm going to show you how I'll set up that deck with this lineup that I have. All right, so again, I've gone and selected the matching cards out of this lovely tin that it just allows you to get into it really quick and easy. So you can see these cards are all here. They're all matching. I'm going to show you real quick. So the dessert cards, you can see, and they're going to stay set off to the side because I have to match this ratio here. Let's just say I'm setting up for a 4-person game. So I'd be in the 2 to 5 player realm. All right. The rest of these, the desserts are off to the side. The rest of these, by the way, you can see how these are different. I haven't shuffled them yet, but I'm going to, so you can see how you're going to be collecting. Will all come together. So we're going to pull in, here's my egg nigiri all the way to my salmon and my squid. We're going to get the maki in here. We're going to get the special order, and we're going to get the tea. All right. One of the things I always have to refer to is how many people are playing and how many of these cards will be dealt out to each of them. So I said we're going to be playing a 4-person game. They're each going to get 9. So I've sectioned off the cards with the fruit. All right, the 5 fruit cards are in this deck, and this will be the deck for the first round. Now, these will be coming in the second and third rounds. You do 3 different rounds, and then the game is over, and you're going to score each round as you go. There's even some cards that you'll score as you play, and some you save to the end. But what I'm going to do is just kind of show you the feel of it real quick. Everybody here in a 4-person game is going to have 9 cards. So I will just set out the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Normally everything would be shuffled up real good. Everybody's going to have their 9 cards. All right, and I'm just going to approximate because this rolls so fast that I'm not going to actually show you in detail how this goes. But I get my 9 and I thumb through and I'm sitting there going, okay, well with these I need to get the first to the 10 rolls, and there's 3 rolls on this one. So if I were to pick, if I wanted to pick rolls, I would, well, there you go. There's a 5 roller. So I could lay that down on this turn. I could select that. I could just simply go for an egg nigiri that's worth a pure 1. There's another roll. Here's the eel. Now, if at the end of this round, this first round, I only have 1 eel, I'm going to lose 3 points. But if there's another eel somewhere around here, which I would hope there is, then I can grab it, and if I get 2 of them, I'll have 7. So a little risky, but I might do that. Here's the dessert. Again, the dessert's persistent. It'll stay with me through all 3 rounds. The person who has, for every 4 I have, I'll get 12 at the very end of the game. Well, there's another eel right there. So maybe even if I grab 1 of them, the hope is no one else will grab them, and it could come around to me, or they won't let it come around. And then the miso soup. So as long as, if I play this and nobody else plays a miso soup, I'll get 3. If someone else plays it, it gets discarded. That seems risky. However, I like a little bit of risk with this one, and it's actually could be worth 7. So I would secretly pick this one. Everybody picks theirs, and when they all say, oh, and we set this off to be passed to the neighbor, because the deck actually gets passed around. So every neighbor would just pick a card, pretend like I know what they're doing, and then they would have their deck headed out, coming around to the next player. So the decks get passed, they don't look yet, and then everybody just flips their cards at once. So my eel goes up, this player went for some of the rolls. This wouldn't happen because it's got to be pointed at a wild card, so let's just say this guy went for some rolls as well, and we've got somebody going for the onigiri, which is collect the 4 unique sets. So there's 4 different types. They're going to want to be picking those up. That is 1 card. We then all do the exact same thing again. So I'm going to show you this one, and then I'll just skip ahead and kind of show you what maybe I grabbed. Let's see. I could lock down some fruit for the future, but I'm just going to show you. I'm going to lock down a miso soup. It would lay, well, I wouldn't lay it yet. All right. It would go there. Everybody would do the same thing. You pass the cards, everybody flips over their deal, you follow whatever the rules are, and you pick up your next set of cards, because these just keep passing around until you exhaust them. And you're going to look at these and make a selection. So all you're doing is making a selection, passing the deck, showing it, and repeat, repeat, repeat until you've exhausted and nobody has any of these left. All right, I wanted to zip ahead and just come in as if we were doing final scoring. So I've gone through all 9 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So everybody would have something out kind of similar to this, and I'll show you how they score real quick. So this is my dessert. I've got it kind of sitting out special because it's not going to score anything until the end of the game. And it's going to be persistent. So it's not even going to get flushed away and start a new round. This is going to stay with me. I'm going to set it way over here. It scores nothing at this point in time. We've got this regular salmon nigiri here, and it's going to score me just a regular flat 2 points. I would score it on my track, bring it around, do my 2, and it would be on to the next one. I would get rid of this. We're going to come in. I'm going to come and show you these rolls last because they're probably, well, I'll show you how they work last. I did manage to get 2 eels. So if I would have been stuck with just 1, -3, but bam, I did get my 2, got a 7. I would score my 7, get rid of these. I did manage to get my miso soup. I did not have to discard it when it went down, and I would score 3 points. All right, this is one of my cooler ones. I love this. So, unique set. I only got 3 of them. So you can see I've got this cool little fella, then there's this one, and then you got this little one over here, and I actually missed out on this one. Had I picked this one up, I would have got a total of 16 points. We'll assume that one of the other players was like, whoa, even if I'm not collecting these and it's only going to get me 1 point if I only have one of them, I cannot let Bart get this. And by preventing me from getting it, he cut my points almost in half there, obviously. A little bit less. I got 9 instead of 16. But that's a huge save. So that's what happened on this one. Didn't get it. This goes away. All right, the rolls are probably some of the most interesting, and let me show you another one here. You've got, as soon as you get 10 of these rolls, and you're counting the numbers up here, and some of the cards have different amounts of rolls. Here's a perfect one to show you. So this one only has 3. So as soon as you get 10, you're going to immediately score it, and the first person that does get 10 gets 8. Those get scored on your board, these get discarded. I can come along and start collecting more, or maybe somebody else is collecting more, but the next person is not going to get as good a return. They're only going to get 5. And then they get thrown away and scored, and then someone else maybe, or again, it could be the same person, comes in, and this time it's going to be worth much, much less. It's only going to be worth 2. So it's a little bit of a race to collect the most of these at the same time. So you can see if I would have been able to pick up just simply 2 cards, they each have 5 on them, I would have had my 10 really quick, really easy, only costing me a couple cards, rather than if I was collecting just a bunch of the smaller sets. And you would score it immediately, so you're not waiting till the end, you're scoring it on that racetrack, scoring right away. The other thing I like with this is we have these wild cards in, and you can point, if this is the card you select, you can put it down on the table by whatever you want to score. So I could, like for here, it's going to be almost worthless with these because I want unique pairs. Unless I'm working on 2 totally separate unique pairs, and then I might want to point it at something that I'm missing. I've just doubled it up, and maybe I've now hit that extra card that I need. It's miso soup. I could come in and I could simply double this card. Hey, I got this card out again, and it's going to act as if it's this. As long as another miso soup comes down, doesn't come down, I'm going to get 3. I can see if we're coming around and I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure there's any more eel. I've selected the wild card. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I get my 7 points. So you can see this does a lot. Now, if this was the situation, maybe short of not having all of these, that would be great if you had 2 sets. But I could definitely see me doubling my 5 count rolls. Boom, I made it to be the first person to get 8 points. That's worth more than my eel, totally worth more than my soup. It would not be worth more than this if I had 2 pairs. But you can see, maybe if I can get 9 out of it. But bam, wild card, whatever it's pointing at, scored immediately, and we would be done. So that's a little bit how scoring works, and what I love is the mixing and the matching. Holy moly, holy moly, holy moly. Love it. Wow. I guess you can guess how my wrap-up's gonna go. Whoop. All right, you've seen how it plays. Phenomenal. All right, it adds more goodness to the game. So if you've never owned Sushi Go, either of the 2 versions, trust me, go out and get this. Unless you have some aversion to card drafting, all right? Otherwise, it's perfect. It is so accessible to casual gamers or even non-gamers. Whenever I have a reunion at the house, Christmas, whatever, I'm telling my wife right from the get-go, hey, I'm probably going to work this in. I'll have it sitting out on the table. Now it'll be in this tin, which I got to admit, the lid stays on tight, and the way you can pack it works pretty good. I'll show you real quick what I do on the packing of it. But it handles younger kids, although sometimes you got to help them with, hey, this is how this works. But it's just so visually cool, fun, accessible. So it plays so well on that. Adding in, you know, the different specials, the way the different appetizers work. The fact that that little board that I showed you in the close-up that holds them as placekeepers is a reminder on how they work. You know, and they're out there, and this is the ratio that we have of these cards. The visual colorization of it, very, very well done. It's like a soothing game. So for me, this is a must buy. When this came out, when I first heard news of the party, I went and told the wife, we were both like, I won't say giddy with excitement, but we were excited because we've played it so much that the original version could start to get just a little bit stale. Now, there's usually some new folks there that were like, wow, that's really neat. But for us, and the ability to play it two-player with all these different options is exciting and fun. And thank you, Game Right, for doing it. So real quick, so there's these little card things in here, and I've got it packed. Let me show you how this is packed real quick, because to be quite honest, I usually don't like tins. But first of all, the tin is secure. Will it fit somewhere on the shelf? I gotta admit, this is gonna be upstairs, and upstairs I kind of have it different. It's all real kid accessible. But what I do is, I gotta be careful not the lid's off. I layer the rules on top. All right, then I come in with that the player board, which is folded. And by the way, I'd had a comment on the unboxing of how well I thought these little hooks, you know, the little cardboard placekeepers were gonna hold up. They are holding up great. I can't see them, you know, normal wear and tear. There's not going to be any issues at all with these breaking. They're not thin, they're thick. They don't have that middle. They keep the middle open, which would be the weaker area. So for the person that commented, these look sturdy. Obviously, I don't have 100 plays in. I probably do with the regular game, and the cards hold up well as just as well. Now again, I don't have that in with these cards, but the cards look the same. Same top quality. So then I take this little placekeeper that was in here, which is just like a cardboard sheet, but that holds these cards in their slot very, very well. So you've got this quick accessibility once you've got it set up. There's an area, I think in here, a little groove that holds these pawns. They fly all over the place if you use it. So I keep them in the bag, if that's what they're meant for. What I do instead is I keep my specials in that slot, which does hold all the pawns. They won't fall out because it's the same as the cards. And then there's this extra little slot that's in here, and I keep the rest of the heavy cardboard tiles that fit this in there. And this thing doesn't shift at all, and it keeps the setup super, super fast. And that is key with this, because you're not using all of the cards. If you had to go sort these in some manner, it would really slow the setup down. That's why I wanted to highlight this. I think Game Right did a wonderful job with this tray that's in here. What a wonderful insert. You know, not done as an afterthought, and very, very helpful. The only thing that I'm going to tell you, though, that they've always had an issue with the scoring track. This is a decent, you know, race car score track, but the pawns, I've had them get knocked off on occasion. So I still keep track with pencil and paper. However, it's nice to have the visual deal out there, the little soy sauce pawns, and I love the colors again. The color palette's nice, so I like having them out there. But they do tend to sometimes get knocked around a little bit. Not too much, because you're not doing a lot of stuff out in the center of the game board. And I don't know if you can fix that. That's probably the only thing I saw. They'd get knocked around, and if I wasn't keeping track with pencil and paper, sometimes we'd be like, were you at 46, 45, where were you? But I love this. Great. Let me get it on well before I go flip it up. And the idea that they put on here pick and pass, when I first got it, I was like, pick and pass. Of course, you know, I know it as card drafting, but the uninitiated, the folks that aren't deep into the hobby like I am or my family are, that just speaks volumes. So huge hit. I'm going to be honest, I knew it would be. We already love the game. We've got the Kickstarter version, which I showed. We've got the next one from Game Right, which my wife used all the time, even in her K-State family board gaming project. And when this was coming out, had to have it with all the special little goodness. So, trust me, if you like Sushi Go and you want some additional options, if you want to give it as a gift, this is it. If my family's watching, the extended ones that live all over the place, you may be getting this for Christmas. Who knows? Who knows? Possibility. Possibility. Hey, it's the Chief, bonding with board games. Go out and play. See you guys.